Hello everyone, I'm Allan Jensen, the CIO of Salling Group. I've been in this position for the last 15 years, but have a long history with 32 years in the company, being in the business and buying our buying office for 18 years before I moved to IT. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tom Rune Bjørnstad. I've been lingering in the world of SAP for some 20 years, especially in the area of e-commerce. Now coming more into the e-commerce and retail world. Yeah, I'm based out of Norway. Alan?
Yes, next I think then. And I think I will do a short presentation of Salling Group, and I think we go directly to the next slide. Salling Group has been actually on the market in Denmark for more than 100 years. It all started up with 2 department stores that is still part of our company. But from 1960, we started building up a supermarket chain, Føtex, and then we have had a continuous growth over all years. And we are both in brick and mortar and also in online. And over the last years, we have grown also in the convenience side and have the license for running the Carl's Jr. burger restaurant in Denmark and Starbucks. We are absolutely the market leader in Denmark with approximately 36-38% of the food sales in Denmark, and we are quite big on non-food also in our both brick and mortar and online. So I think that makes it a true market leader in Denmark. I think the core in our company is the 3 format we have. The Føtex supermarket that was founded in 1960, and I'll come back to that a little later. I think and the Bilka hypermarket and the Netto discount store. And I think we go to the next slide. The core of our company is in the Danish market, where we have these 3 formats. We have the Bilka hypermarket, that is a traditional hypermarket like Tesco, Supercenter, Walmart. It's a 50-50% share between food and non-food, and we have 4 hypermarkets that is plus 150 million euro sales a year. And we are quite proud in a small market with 5.5 million people inhabitants that we can actually drive these big hypermarket. And I think also compared to Tesco, Walmart, I don't believe that many of their hypermarket is in that size sales wise. Føtex supermarket, a traditional supermarket, 30% non-food, 70% food sales. We have 102 stores in Denmark, more focused on good service and quality. And then today the market leading position is our Netto discount stores, where we compete up against Lidl, Aldi, and other discounter in the Danish market. And Netto itself is the biggest retailer in Denmark with close to 18% market share. And if we go to next slide. Netto is the format that we also brought international. It's a long history so far. We started in Germany in 1990 when our market share in Germany is mainly in the northeast Germany, and the history was that we went quite fast into the northeast German market when the wall came down in late '89, and quite fast we built up a quite good share of market share in that region. We are small overall in Germany, but have a 7-8% market share up in the northeast. Then we moved further into the east, into Poland in 1995, where we now have 380 stores, mainly in the west and south central Poland. And the new story here is that we earlier this year actually have done an acquisition and taken over all Tesco stores in Poland, and we are waiting for the final approval from the authorities. But when that is in place, we will convert these 300 stores into our Netto format and more or less double our size in Poland, and that will also make us covering the whole Poland market. And we run a concept that is very similar from country to country. Of course, there are some range difference, but overall, we are running the same concept. Yeah, next slide. On the online market, which we have been into for, I think, a lot of years on the non-food, we have a quite good position with our Bilka DK and Føtex DK on non-food. And we have also introduced meal boxes, where we did an acquisition of the second biggest meal box solution in Denmark. And we have also tried some other food online, but we have not really moved into what you can say food online with home delivery so far. I think all of us know how difficult it is to be profitable in a last mile solution. And we have been following this market for years, and we have actually back in summer 19 made a strategy how we should see ourselves in the food online market with home delivery, and try to set a plan for when to act in this. And this was a 2-year strategy that we made back in summer 19, and we did believe that was the right time for us to move into this. Then we had this COVID-19 coming up earlier this year, impacting a lot to our trade, starting with a lot of difficulties and lost sales, and at least in Denmark and our company over the summer we have benefited a lot, having a lot of Danish people not moving to foreign countries for their vacation but stayed home. So we actually have a very nice sales on top of what we normally have. And we have seen a huge shift in the consumer behavior from brick and mortar and into online, what we already have. We are running a click and collect solution in both Bilka and Føtex. So after the first months in March and April, we could see that we need to act now. We need to change the plans for our strategy, our 2-year strategy. So we actually in late April decided to front load our plans and start off immediately working on a new food online home delivery solution. And we also decided that we need to do this very fast because the market is there. We have seen a huge acceptance in the customer behavior of home delivery, and we think that the market is front loaded 2 to 4 years in this new way of shopping. So we set a quite serious and aggressive target being live with this new solution already in beginning 21, and we started up beginning May, and we need to find some partners in the market that really could help us do a fast track on this. And we have are now working together with Accenture on the front-end solution, and we have set up an internal team on the whole merchandise layer and our, you can say, core back-end solution. And then we need to find a partner for the logistic and last mile solutions. And fortunately, we get in contact with Westernacher, and the reason for our big interest here was that there was a solution that has been developed and that quite fast could be adopted into our concept. And yeah, we are so far very happy with the cooperation with Westernacher, and also Westernacher was targeted with a very tough deadline being live with this logistic solution less than 6 months in our system. So I think at least for us so far we are on track. We are very busy, but have managed to put 3 external partners together within a few months to set up a team that is coordinated by our own internal resources to be and have a realistic target of being live in January. So I think with that word, I will hand over to you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. And starting off from where we are at right now, with what has been done in the system, is quite a lot of work, reflecting back to Alan's and Salling's decision to front load this initiative from a last mile, and looking at the existing systems and what can come in, and also looking at things that has been done earlier on, and what happened in the area of Oslo some years back was, I think, the initiative to be for Westernacher to be contacted. And it's quite a lot that is going on in this project. It's a very short timeline. There's a new front end that needs to come in. There is a existing warehouse management solution that needs to be created and set up for this dark store initiative, supporting this online solution for last mile groceries. There is the need for a transportation and execution part of this to handle all the parts all the way from warehouse or from web order confirmation to at the doorstep action, doing track and trace and all the elements of reporting and having a visibility in this supply chain platform. And we are very happy to be onboarded onto the project, to be able to leverage the existing SAP portfolio of ECC and EWM to introduce a full supply chain execution platform, enabling the use of transportation management, but also event management to do track and trace, and also a Fiori driver app to handle the last mile delivery process, as well as a workflow tool for the drivers. Let's see here if we are stepping on the slides here. So it all starts with the order management part, a quite big solution, looking into that we are not sending the orders to the ERP platform or ECC platform. They are going directly to the warehouse management system. So this is a new way of doing it by something we call direct delivery options. We have the warehouse operations, which are also tuned for last mile. So the dark store DC itself is a new operation also for Salling Group, requiring a new warehouse in some existing buildings, but being rebuilt and tuned for this dark store scenario, where also pick strategies and the layout of the warehouse are important. The transportation planning, which is new for Salling in the world of SAP, where SAP transportation management is used to calculate and create the tours or the shipments going on the delivery trucks. Around 100 to 200 vehicles will be used in the distribution to do the home delivery in the areas planned for Denmark. And of course, the driver app for the driver to have this tool as a workflow guiding him along the operational part. And then the track and trace part to basically capture all the executions going on outside when the drivers are out there doing the delivery. It could be everything from car breakdown to queues or delays in the plan and the transportation plan, and also reporting all the milestones that are done during this operation. So it's quite a lot of things inside its scope. It's a huge scope, 3 teams coming from 3 different areas merging together in a very, very short time frame. So I would say this is also a quite extreme operation, something we are familiarized with a former project in Oslo, where most of the action is done during the night, especially inside the dark store area, from the outbound processes of picking and requiring orders. Ultra fresh products have special demands like fish, meat, and bread or bakeries in general. So it's a very interesting operation, and quite interesting to see what the standard supply chain execution platform from SAP is able to actually do in here. So I'll come into a little bit more details of how we do the order management. As I mentioned earlier on, we use what we are called a delivery-based requirement. We push the orders from the front end directly into EWM as a direct outbound delivery. This enables us to have a more flexible element of change from customers that wants to add something to the basket or to the order later on. It could be a change of time, it could be a change of address or things like this, up to a particular point in time of an order cutoff where changes are not allowed anymore. But it is a much more flexible way of doing it by using this direct delivery option. It will require some custom developments to interact with the front end. We'll come to that. The deliveries are then created in the warehouse management system and then sent to the ECC system as a delivery, who then is pushing that towards the transportation management system, where we are depending on the customer's delivery appointment dates. Of course, the line items inside, an average grocery order is between 30 and 50 line items. There is a ship to and ship from location, of course, which is the DC. We only use one-time customers. There is no customers stored in the system. They are done and saved and synchronized between the front end and Salesforce. So there is no need to have the customers stored in. So they are just one-time customers from an order management view. The warehouse operations, of course, as I mentioned, delivery documents are coming in. We do the wave or pick demand through a wave creation coming from transportation units, meaning that the planned tours of TM are used to bulk the delivery demand for particular tours into waves to start the picking towards them. There is also a custom development done there as well, also to optimize really well the picking and travel distances during picking in the warehouse by some special consolidation processes coming across different product groups, ambient, chilled, and frozen. needs to be segregated in ways and also combined to make the operations as efficient as possible, because it's costly. Last mile is not an inexpensive operation, so everything needs to be optimized in all corners where possible. There are also some custom dialog screens on the RF created also for the inbound processes, especially, as well as outbound. Pick by voice will be used to simplify and leverage the capacity of the shoppers or the pickers in the warehouse, working with both hands and keeping up to speed with their trolley that they are running around with. It's much more easier and more convenient. Replenishment is also done in particular days and hours and intervals during the day to meet demand for changes and things that needs to be replenished. There is also a useful tool in the warehouse management system that gives the people sitting in the warehouse running the overview of the operation, which is called the shipping cockpit. In here, you can mass release pick waves. You can do the door assignments for all the trucks coming and going. It's also a huge operation, having 200 vehicles coming and going. It is a lot of work to combine and inform and brief drivers, assign them to the vehicles, load the vehicles, come to the right door for being loaded. So this shipping cockpit is used to orchestrate some of these processes, among with coordination with the fleet manager. And then the warehouse manager can sit and run this tool and have an overview of what's going on in the pick situation, what's going on from cars coming and leaving and when to be loaded, because we are depending on this yard departure time, which is coming from TM in this transportation unit. We need to respect that, and a car needs to leave at 8:15 in the morning. It has to leave 8:15, not 8:30, because then we are delayed on the tour by 15 minutes. And status monitoring and all these things is done through this tool. So it's a very important standard function of EWM, but fits really well for this operation, because it's quite extreme from a operational view of how this staging area and how things are met and consolidated and packed and loaded and prepared to be put onto trucks coming and going. So it's a very useful tool to handle that. A lot of thinking coming into this process as well, also with the experience from the operations in Oslo, tuning them even more to handle this volume. From transportation planning, which is also an important part, there will be a manual and automated, fully automatic planning to be used, calculating and creating the tours using vehicle scheduling and routing engine in SAP TM. We depend very much on last mile. You are depending on having geographical services that helps you on the street level routing that you are building, because you need to have accurate times calculated, meeting the customer's delivery slots. Slots will be offered in 1 hour, 2 hours, and 3 hours, 4 weeks forward in time. So we are depending on having accurate arrival times when we come to the customer within that designated time slot booked by the customer on the front end. He selects from a calendar the delivery appointment time somewhere in the future. All, as mentioned, all planning done automatically. When done, it's validated, and we are sending this transportation unit or this shipment grouping the deliveries to the warehouse management system, where they do the picking based on that. So it's not such an advanced way of doing it, but it's just squeezed in time of what you have to do all these things to enable the warehouse to have the whole night preparing the early morning tours and operating all the way through the day. The first deliveries are offered from 7 in the morning until 2200 hours in the afternoon. So it's quite extreme operation. And then the actual home delivery itself and the execution around it is done by having this driver app, this Fiori tool, which is created as you are relying on a dynamic staffing of people, drivers, in-house staff, maybe also students working part-time. You need a tool that can give them an overview of their work from a driver app view, having a kind of workflow operational view of things. You log on, you're assigned a tour, you can see your stops, the content of what you have to deliver. You have a navigation tool, you start your tour, you press go to the first customer of this sequence that you have to follow. Navigation will take you in. We will use a navigation solution as well, which also gives you real-time traffic updates so that you know if you need to do a detour. We have events to report if you are delayed, if you have a vehicle breakdown, or if you are delayed on the tour itself. Someone from the back end or customer service can react on these events reported from the execution to inform customers that there is a delay. So it's a very useful tool, and we have a lot of experience in this area from various projects of how it could work and how it could be designed to keep it as simple as possible and as efficient as possible for the user. Event management, who sits behind the driver app, is the system receiving all the updates and synchronizing that, and we have a special proof of delivery or a POD interface which updates EWM to then post a POD to the front end again with also the whole order or only parts of the order, because what happens at the doorstep is the actual truth of what the POD will send to the backend and to the web, so that we do the correct capture of the correct reserved amount when the order is deducted from the customer's credit card. So we cannot take the reserved amount. We need to know what we delivered. So there is quite a lot of work into adapting to this and ensuring that we remove the items which are rejected on the doorstep. It could be products that are rejected for some reason or substituted products. You order some milk and you get another brand and you don't want it. If that happens, we need to know what was rejected and then inform the web front end so that they do the correct credit card capture, meaning the amount. Coming a little bit into the high views of the system itself. What is existing from Salling is that they already use EWM, they already use ECC, among other many other SAP products. The e-commerce platform is in this project new. There is also the need to have a custom interface between EWM and the front end as direct deliveries are used. We need to synchronize order statuses and updates to the front end. As I mentioned, POD updates with the correct truth of what was delivered. Order coming in, order change coming in, status and changes synchronized out. So there is some developments done to handle this order integration. The picking and the warehouse operation are quite basic. We did some changes to make sure that we have consolidation in a better way to optimize the pick path. ECC and not going into the details how settlements and FI processes are run is also special, since we are not using a sales order object and the delivery is not even used at all. It is just used to handle some postings between two company codes. TM used for last mile planning, where we use our GIS add-on to do the street level routing and calculate the geographical positions of all the customers. We have also a time slot and capacity information logic that sits in here, which controls the offers to the customer of what slots are available, what the capacity in them are, when they are offered for sales, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 weeks forward in time. The optimizer is also used to calculate the routes in very high detail and then coming back, meaning that when they are done, we have a tour planned and this is then pushed to the warehouse management system via the SCM integration, which these three systems do crosstalk across. So then the waves are created here. And event management, as I mentioned, is done for track and trace. And we use cloud mobile services to enable the driver apps and all these devices that are out there to interact with the backend, providing the execution information. So that was basically what I had. I think we are a little bit ahead of time, so I think we can open a little bit for questions if